Hunter x Hunter fans are all making one critical mistake. Hello and welcome back to Suck War Central. My name is CJ and I've been recording YouTube videos non-stop for the last week, so I really don't feel like doing any more intros. Instead, let me just follow right up on that premise I laid out. A common sentiment I see in Hunter x Hunter fans, and specifically manga readers who love the Succession War, is that the Succession War has ruined their taste in media or some such. It's just so good, and it scratches an itch they just can't find anywhere else, and it's not finished, and it has so much complex characterization, and so many well thought out thematic explorations, woven into a beautiful, macabre, heart-wrenching tapestry, and it makes you think and spawns endless questions, interpretations, and theories. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not true. Obviously, nothing's gonna be exactly the same, but you do have options. I'd say Frank Herbert's Dune series comes closest. One small problem, it's not actually as good as Hunter x Hunter, I think. It's been years since I read it, to be honest, and I never finished the whole thing. Anyway, Dune is not what I'm here to talk about. Allow me to introduce you to Umineko no Nakukoro ni, or in English, When the Seagulls Cry. Most fans either abbreviate it to Umineko, or do a nice little compromise and call it Umineko When They Cry. So what the hell is Umineko, and why should a fan of the Succession War care about it? Well, that's tricky to answer, because literally just explaining the premise of Umineko is kind of a spoiler, unless I leave out a lot of information and use coded language, so I'll do that. Let me just start by describing the format. Umineko is a game, that's not a game, that becomes a game, that was a game the whole time. Look, it's a visual novel, a very long one, with 8 episodes, and no actual choices or gameplay occur until the very final episode. Until you arrive there, it's just a story. Except that's not true, is it? Although you don't literally engage in gameplay, Umineko is very much a game between the author and reader of solving mysteries, logic puzzles, and truths at the heart of each character. While there's no questions to answer or choices to make in the first 7 episodes, the game challenges you to figure out just what the absolute fuck is going on. It's a goddamn mindbender, that's for sure. Okay, time for the plot summary that, like I said, is gonna be chock full of lies by omission or lies to prevent spoilers, or just lies for reasons you'll understand when you get there. It centers around the Ushiromiya family conference, a collection of 3 generations of an extremely wealthy family gathering to discuss business. The central questions at play are, how is the temperamental and psychotic patriarch Kinzo's fortune gonna be divided amongst the children? Who will officially succeed him as head of the Ushiromiya family? And is the mysterious golden witch old man Kinzo keeps raving about in his delirium a real person, a figment of his imagination, or something far more mysterious? And as you'd expect when 4 rival factions of a family, who all desperately need money, end up isolated on the private island of Rokenjima with a bunch of clever and conniving servants who all have dark secrets of their own, pretty fucking soon murders start happening. And what's especially frightening about these crimes is that they smack of the supernatural. Each crime seems impossible to pull off without the use of magic, and has occult elements to it. Therefore, it becomes up to the reader to piece together character secrets, plot threads, conspiracies, motives, and everything in between to determine, are these crimes the work of a dark, money-grubbing conspiracy, or are they the results of a centuries-old witch's gruesome curse? Yeah, pretty exciting stuff, but that's also a very standard, and one might even say generic, plot summary. Now let me tell you why you, yes you, a fan of the Succession War from Hunter x Hunter specifically, will enjoy reading Umineko. So let me just start listing reasons why I love the Suck War, and let me explain how Umineko scratches those same itches. Number 1, so many moving parts. Sure, at first Umineko looks like a very simple murder mystery between a group of 12 rich people, 5 servants, and whatever the fuck the point of Nanjo is. I'm just kidding, I love you buddy. But the actual number of characters in Umineko is, okay, it's debatable, it's complicated, and it's kind of a spoiler, but suffice it to say, an estimate I can give you without spoilers is that Umineko has around 60 characters. Yes, not as much as the Succession War, but the vast majority of Umineko characters are just as well fleshed out and characterized as the major princes in Hunter x Hunter, making the cast of characters feel extremely full and lively. And that's to say nothing of all the different simultaneous and overlapping plotlines going on. To this day, even after reading it twice, I'm still putting together how all these plots intertwine and forming new theories and interpretations of my own. Number B, intense logic battles and reasoning sessions. So many of the people who I see enjoying Hunter x Hunter's current arc cite the complex thought processes everyone has, and how entertaining it is to watch them reason out solutions to various problems and figure out how Nen abilities work, as well as theorizing alongside the characters and pointing out the flaws in their logic. Well, if you like that, I'd say Umineko contains about 75 hours of that in total. It's very entertaining to have to ask yourself, does this world have a power system? If so, how exactly does it work? And believe it or not, you can still find yourself having to answer the second question, even if you decide the answer to the first question is a genuine, resounding no, because Umineko is just crazy like that. This game will make you feel like Volkson sitting across the table from Morena, and it is honestly such an incredible sensation to have. And I swear, Umineko artfully manipulates its audience and makes it look effortless. I cannot tell you how many times I've come up with a theory, and then 5 minutes later the exact same characters come up with the exact same theory and start arguing about it. Another very common experience is coming up with a theory that gets disproven literal seconds after it enters your mind. You think you're so smart and have figured something out, and then the VN just humbles you. Conversely, when you actually do get something right, it feels genuinely so fucking amazing. Also, Umineko doesn't just throw you in at the deep end. As the story goes on, it gives you the logical tools and teaches you lines of thinking to attack more and more complex puzzles. And these tools don't just stop being useful when you put Umineko down. I actually credit the thinking patterns Umineko gave me with a good chunk of the theories I've come up with about Hunter x Hunter. For example, the Longhi video from a couple weeks ago. That was directly inspired by a solution to one of the murder mysteries in Umineko. Okay, my hips are getting tired from all this dick riding. What's something else people love about the Suck War? Number I forgot! The characters. Okay, this sounds obvious, but the characters in both are good. And what's more, I feel like a lot of the characters in Umineko are written similarly to how characters in the Succession War are written. Compared to the rest of Hunter x Hunter, the characters in the Succession War, by and large, feel so much more grounded and real. Of course, you've still got the occasional larger-than-life oddball like Hisoka, but characters who previously fell into that category like Crollo and Kurapika, if you ask me, get humanized quite a bit during the arc. I mean, Kurapika has always felt like a person, but I do think early Kurapika was much more exaggerated and less realistic. Maybe his rage faded over time or something, I don't know. Anyway, Umineko is the same. These people can feel shitty in such real human ways. And again, I don't want to get into it because spoilers, but a lot of the character dynamics in Umineko just have the same sort of feeling as the ones in the Succession War, and it's beautiful. The themes! Umineko deals with a lot of the same narrative themes as the Succession War. It explores the psychology of victims of systemic oppression and the patterns that can arise as a result of that. How extraordinary circumstances can lead ordinary people to do horrible things. How to persevere in the face of a seemingly grim, bleak, and hopeless situation. The consequences of enforced generational hierarchies, as well as the dangers and difficulties of breaking them. And of course, the corruption of the elite. In Hunter x Hunter, when we learned Morena's backstory, it felt like my heart had dropped to my stomach, and suddenly every single other line of dialogue, choice, and action by her was completely recontextualized. Again, I don't want to spoil things, but I had a moment just like that in Umineko, and it was one of the most well-executed and sickening twists I've ever seen. The meticulous nature of it all. Throughout Hunter x Hunter, Togashi has shown us his ability to set up several seemingly completely unrelated plot points and then make them satisfyingly converge in a way we never could have seen coming. Well, most of the time anyway. Umineko, though, it does the same thing. So often, you find yourself wondering, how on earth are all these things going to link up? And then they do and it blows your damn mind. Or other times, it takes you a while to realize they've been linked up from the beginning. And 3 final things Umineko has that the Hunter x Hunter manga does not. Voice actors who are acting their fucking hearts out. The hardest soundtrack I've ever heard in anything ever, which you've probably figured out by how Umineko soundtrack is in pretty much all my damn videos.
believing oneself to be perfect is often the sign of a delusional mind. Wait.
And last but not least, Umineko is actually finished. With that being said, one final question arises. How can I read Umineko? Well, good news friends. The entire thing is available on YouTube for free on a playlist called the Umineko Project. So don't delay, start reading Umineko today, and have a wonderful day.